Welcome to Nandini's teaching place. In operating systems, the first chapter we are going to study is Introduction to Operating System and System Structures. The topics I'm going to cover are what operating systems do, computer system organization, computer system architecture, operating system structure, operating system operations, process management, memory management, storage management, protection and security, distributed system, special purpose systems, and computing environments. So, in this, the first topic is what operating systems do. So, an operating system is a program that manages the computer hardware. It also provides a basis for application programs and acts as an intermediary between the computer user and the computer hardware. An important aspect of operating system is how varied they are in accomplishing these tasks, but the operating system will handle everything. So the mainframe operating system are designed primarily to optimize utilization of hardware, whereas the personal computer operating system support complex games, business applications, and everything in between. So, the operating systems for handheld computers are designed to provide an environment in which a user can easily interface with the computer to execute programs. So, some operating systems are designed to be convenient, others to be efficient, and others some may be the combination of these two. So, the operating system may be different for different type of computers, but at the same time, so it is doing different jobs, but the operating system is the same one. So now, coming to the main thing about what is an operating system is doing. So the computer system can be divided roughly into four components. So you can see in the diagram. So that is the computer hardware, the operating system, the application programs, and the user. So when we talk about hardware, so the hardware are the central processing unit CPU, the memory, and the input output devices that provides basic computing resources for the system. And then when we talk about the application programs, that may be word processors, spreadsheets, compilers, and web browsers. So that defines the way in which these resources are used to solve users' computing problems. And the operating system here controls the hardware and coordinates its use among the various application programs for the various users. So, we can view a computer system that is consisting of hardware, software, and data, and the operating system provides the means for proper use of these resources in the operation of the computer system. So we can call the operating system that is similar to a government. Like the government, it performs no useful function by itself, but it simply provides an environment within which the programs can do unuseful work. So to understand the operating system's role fully, so we are going to divide the roles of the operating system in two viewpoints. That is, the two viewpoints are user view and the system view. So let us see what is the user view. So the user view of the computer varies according to the interface being used. That is, most computer users sit in front of the computer. So it is consisting of a monitor, keyboard, mouse, and a system unit. So such a system is designed for one user to monopolize its resources. So the goal is to maximize the work that the user is performing. So in this case, the operating system is designed mostly for ease of use with some attention paid to performance and none paid to the resource utilization. That is when a single user is using a computer. So how various hardware and software resources are shared. So performance is of course an important to the user, but the systems are optimized for the single user experience rather than the requirement of the multiple users. So when we talk about if a user sits in front of a terminal that is connected to a mainframe or a mini computer, so other users are accessing the same computer through the other terminals. So in this case, the users share resources and may exchange information. So the operating system in such cases is designed to maximize the resource utilization, to assure that all the available CPU time, memory and IO are used efficiently and that no individual user takes more than her fair share. So looking at the differences, so you can see here from a user point of view, so when a single user is sitting at the computer, so it is only about the ease of use. When coming to the mainframes or the mini computers, so here the resource utilization is the main point the operating system needs to computer. So coming to the other case, that is when a user sit at the workstations connected to networks of other workstations and servers. So these users have dedicated resources at their disposal, but they also share resources such as networking, servers, file, computer, and printer servers. So at that time, the operating system is designed to compromise between individual usability and the resource utilization. So in this way, so the operating system has to tackle between the computer which has been used and the number of users and the different aspects of computers. So now recently many varieties of handheld computers have come into fashion. So most of these devices are standalone units for individual users, and some are connected to networks either directly by wire or through a wireless networking. So because of power, speed and interface limitations, they perform relatively few remote operations. So their operating system are designed mostly for individual usability, but the performance per unit of battery life is important as well. So some computers also have little or no user view. For example, embedded computers in home devices which we use, and automobiles may have numeric keypads and may turn indicator lights on or off and show the status, but they have their operating systems are designed primarily to run without user intervention. So in this way, so there are many different kinds of systems are there in which the operating system is performing its job, and the role of the operating system is different, that is depending on the type of the computer we are using and how many numbers of users are using and what kind of computer it is. So based on that, in the user point of view, the operating system is role is very different, that is depending on the computers. So coming to the next one, that is the system view of the computer. So from the point of computer point, so the operating system is the program, so that is intimately involved with the hardware. So that is, we can view an operating system as a resource allocator. So a computer system has many resources that may be required to solve a problem. That is CPU time, memory space, file storage space, IO devices and so on. So the operating system here acts as a manager of these resources, that is facing numerously and possibly conflicting requests for the resources. So the operating system is the one that is going to divide how to allocate them to specific programs and the user, so that it can operate the computer system efficiently and fairly. So the resource allocation is especially important where many users accessing the same mainframe or mini computers. A slightly different view of the operating system emphasizes that the needs to control the various IO devices and the user programs. So the operating system is a control program. So a control program is nothing but it manages the execution of user programs to prevent errors and improper use of the computer. So it is especially concerned with the operation and control of IO devices. So from the user point of view, it is a system. Operating system is the one which is going to help with the ease of use of a computer system, or it is going to provide the performance or the resource utilization. But from the system point of view, we can tell that it is the one which is in operation and that is going to control the IO devices, and it is a control program as well as a resource allocator from the system point of view. So when we come to defining an operating system, so we can define what an operating system is. So we don't have an adequate definition for operating system. So the operating system exists because they offer a reasonable way to solve the problems of creating a usable computing system. So the fundamental goal we can define for an operating system, a fundamental goal of a computer system is to execute the user programs and to make solving user problems so easier. So towards this goal, so a computer hardware is constructed. So a bare computer hardware alone is not practically easy to use, and that's why the application programs has been developed, and these programs require certain common operations such as those controlling the IO devices. The common functions of controlling and allocating resources are then brought together into one piece of software, that is what we call it as an operating system. So when in a simple point of view, it is including that everything a vendor ships when you order the operating system. That is what are the features we require, that which is included are very greatly across system. Some system take up less than 1 megabyte of space and lack of even a full screen editor, whereas other require gigabytes of space and are entirely based on graphical Windows system. A more common definition, and the one that we usually follow, is that the operating system is the one program that is running at all times on a computer, that is usually called as a kernel. And along with this kernel, there are other types of programs also, so which are associated with the operating system but are not part of the kernel, that is what we call it as a system programs. And the application programs, which include all programs not associated with the operating system, so which you can see in the diagram. So whichever the computer is and whatever its hardware, application software, system software, but the operating system is the one that is running all the time in the computer system, that is the one what we call it as an operating system. So the matter of what constitutes the operating system has become increasingly important is, in 1998 the United States Department of Justice filed suit against Microsoft, in essence claiming that Microsoft includes too much functionality in its operating systems and thus prevented application vendors from competing. For example, a web browser was an integral part of the operating system. As a result, Microsoft was found guilty of using its operating system's monopoly to limit the competition. So it means that, so the operating system needs to have a basic things, that is what it provides is it is going to manage the computer hardware, and it is going to be act as an in between system and application software and the user and the computer hardware, so which makes the user to use system or the application programs with the use of the hardware very easily. So this is what the definition of the operating system. So that is, there is no abstract definition of an operating system, but what we can tell is the operating system is the one which is running all the time in a computer system, and which acts as a different roles when we talk about user view and from the system view. From the user view, it is one that is makes the computer easy to use, and which is going to make the resource utilization more of a different computer, whereas from the system point of view, it is a control program, or we can call it as a resource allocator.